Hello again, a rabid internet fan base. Welcome back, everybody, to the Hemingway Land YouTube channel. So, in the interest of shoehorning as many New Mexico properties as we could possibly get onto the website between now and Thanksgiving, aka winter break, the countdown has already begun, people, yes. We got a bunch of properties going live this week, some more coming up in October. Things in New Mexico are finally getting purchased, coming out of escrow, getting photographed in a timely manner, etc., etc. And so this week I will skip the typically engaging stories and move on instead to special thanks to all our valued customers. Haven't done this in like 2 weeks, I think. Anyway, guys, I got a list. Here's the order of my list that it's in. Starting off in New Mexico, more specifically Socorro County, sold some land to Reed, Michael, and Yamilet. What a delightful name, Yamilet. Anyway, so special thanks to them. In neighboring Valencia County, sold some land to Gilberto, Tomas, Tuan, Martin, returning customer Tawanda, and Dan, who became a first-time customer with his Valencia County property. And then, moving on to the state of Nevada, up in Elko County, Dan returned and bought another property up there in Elko County. So special thanks to Dan and all the Valencia buyers. Over in Arizona, specifically in Apache County, sold some land to Aaron. We are closing escrow on that mighty fast. I am shocked. Pioneer title for the win. Anyway, so this week we are closing on that property. So special thanks to all of our customers, all of our valued buyers. With all that said, guys, going live on the website this week, we are back finally in Ba-Boom, Cibola County, where it has been a while. It has been a hot minute, people, since we have had new land for sale. Of course, these Cibola County properties tend to be very popular with our buyers because of their proximity to the over 300,000 acres of Cibola National Forest that covers most of the region, and which makes all these properties ideal for hunting all of the assorted elk, mule deer, wild turkey, and other critters that this area is known for. Aside from the hunting, of course, the nearby National Forest also offers plenty of great hiking, camping, trails, picnic areas, and even some good spots to fish. Additionally, these properties are also intensely popular because Cibola County is without county-wide zoning. Of course, to be clear, people, that doesn't mean no zoning. It simply means that the county tends to defer to towns, municipalities, and HOAs to make up their own rules. Fortunately, the property we've got today does not answer to any of those, ergo, you will have far more freedom to develop this land in whatever way you see fit. Speaking of the land, if we go to the map here, you will see that the subject property is located in the Candy Kitchen region of the county, or more specifically, right here in the Arnold's Cliff subdivision, located just a bit north of Candy Kitchen Road, aka Indian Service Route 120. And pretty close to the Wild Spirit Wolf Sanctuary over here, and the Candy Kitchen Ranch Airport, really just down the street. So the subject property is a corner lot located here where Tin Can Alley Road meets Rocky Mesa. The property has power at the lot lines, some nice cutout regions, easy to park and build on, some nice forested regions, ideal for some hunting. And in the center of the property, you have a hillside, which may be ideal for building a nice home or hunting cabin with some elevated views of the surrounding valley. Speaking of the surrounding valley, people, you will notice from the map there are a number of built-up home sites out here, and as an example of what some of these neighboring structures look like, we've got some photos in the gallery. And I'm taking the time to point these out to illustrate that despite the lack of an HOA or any sort of formal covenants or restrictions out here, the neighbors do seem to keep the place looking nice. There is some pride of ownership, and also as a way of suggesting that living out here will not be as remote or as difficult as one might imagine. Now, while we wrap up with the drone shots here, there's a quick thing I'd like to note. Our photographer found no underground utilities out here, meaning telecom, meaning phone, cable, internet. That said, we have purchased a number of lots in this region in the past, and while they're not on every corner, they do have a presence out here and tend to be servicing a lot of these developed home sites. Point being, if you are interested in this property, you may be surprised if you scout it that you may very well find what our photographer could not, which in turn may make the land a good bit easier to develop and hence more valuable. Either way, as you can see from the overhead shots, this is really pretty country out here, and this parcel will offer you a healthy chunk of it to call your own. Next up, people, we are back yet again in Socorro County, where we've got another property in the Rio Grande Estate subdivision. This one, however, is different than the usual, not only because it is a staggering 3 acres or 3 adjacent 1-acre lots, which I'll remind all of you is very difficult to come by, but more so because it sits over here in the westernmost part of the subdivision in very close proximity to the developed home sites in the neighboring sub. And why do I point this out? Yes, you guessed it, because of utilities, which are present here and not in most other parts of the sub. More specifically, people, if we zoom in on the map, you will see that despite the relatively close proximity of these developed home sites, say roughly 1,700 feet to the west, there is a residential power line utility easement even closer, situated about 750 feet north of the subject property over here. Where'd this thing come from, you ask? Well, if you follow the map northbound, you will find a number of landowners who have managed to have power extended out to their properties from this neighboring sub. So much so that those power lines continue to exist out here and bring power to the few developed home sites in this part of the RGE. Additionally, guys, one last thing to note is that this 3-acre parcel is actually a corner lot. Of course, you really can't make it out from Google Maps, but if you look at the plat, you will learn that there is actually space for roads here along both the southern and eastern ends of the property. Next up, we're back in Torrance County, in another one of these popular regions. We regrettably haven't had anything in a while, but a region nonetheless which we really like and which, more importantly, our buyers really like. The subject property sits just about 40 minutes outside Albuquerque, just south of Moriarty, just north of McIntosh, in this charming rural residential agricultural community. And as you'll see in the photos, the property sits in a region with some well-maintained roads, power at the parcel boundaries, underground telecom lines already in place, and is surrounded by some respectable-looking neighboring home sites. Additionally, this is a healthy chunk of land, ideal for site-built homes, mobile, modular, or even non-traditional structures merely built up to code. Now, it should be noted, guys, that we've sold a number of parcels in this region over the years, and I'm always surprised because I expect the end buyer for lots like these to be people with some sort of agricultural interest, want to build a small family farm, want to raise livestock, etc. More often than not, however, it's typically buyers who work in Albuquerque but who are looking for a bigger plot of land to call their own, more space to build their dream home, more privacy, slower pace of life. You get the point. In short, the kind of people who don't need to be in the office maybe more than once or twice a week, if that, and therefore the commute doesn't bother them. And of course, in the post-COVID era, there's a lot more people working virtually, so if all of that describes you, this may be one worth checking out, particularly priced as it is at only $2,000 an acre. And finally, people, we're back in Valencia County yet again, people, with another one of these 5-acre lots just west of the I-25. And perhaps some of the Sharpies out there saying, hey, Hemingway, this looks like a property you listed a couple weeks ago. Well, that's because it is the property we listed a couple weeks ago. Long story short, people, but we listed it, someone placed a deposit, and then we had to pull the listing that morning and refund their money. It was a whole giant to-do, don't get me started. Whatever the case, the property is now officially back online and ready to be purchased. I said a number of things about it at the time. Of course, it's been a few weeks since I reviewed this listing, but I remember it like it was yesterday. Whatever the case, much like the last two properties we listed, this new one is a generously portioned 5-acre parcel located just west of Berlin in this region right here, and more specifically, right here. Now, quick thing, guys, it should be noted that the satellite image you see here has not been updated in some time, and while this may look like a parcel that's pretty well removed and far from development and has terrible, if any, road access, if we go to the drone photos, you will see that, in fact, no, since the last time the satellite image was taken, the local power company has not only extended commercial power lines out this way, but they built a whole road to do so, and that road, conveniently, runs pretty close to the subject property within about 200 yards, give or take. Additionally, as you'll see in this next photo we created, residential power lines, not the commercial ones, but the residential ones, can be found roughly about a half-mile north of the subject property here along Marble Quarry Road. And because you really can't see anything at all in this image, anyone who wants to check me on this is encouraged to go back to Google Maps and zoom in on the road here where you will see, look at that, the aforementioned power lines. The point being, guys, this one, despite all appearances to the contrary, is located in a developing region, sits pretty close to power, and has pretty respectable access. Also, as you'll see from the photos here, moo cows. Of course, the moo cows are sold separately, but they're out here, they're hanging out, and if you buy the property, they will be your new neighbors. Ah, yes, fond memories indeed. With all that said, people, going live on the website next week, we are back in Nevada with some new Vegas-adjacent properties, ideal for custom-built homes or simply living somewhere in southern Nevada that won't cost you an arm or a leg. maybe half a leg. We'll see. Tune in next week to find out more. Until such time, people, have an amazing, amazing week, and we will see you back here in next week's video.